Hey, folks, it's Lindsey Huddleston back at it with Sports Psychology Solutions in the building today for another SPS Zoom class talking about mental toughness. I got a great panel joining me today. But before I get into these individuals who are our special guests, I'm going to defer to the greatest intern of the year. That's Mr. Delano DJ Swift, my guy. Just joined us last week on Jack Ebling's Fox 47 Press Pass. Was in there getting all this great experience. DJ, I want to thank you for the hard work you've been doing as both a research and production assistant, helping me with what's going on. So with that, without further ado, I want to defer to you so you can introduce our guest today.
Hey, how you guys doing? I'm here with some pretty great guys, friends of mine. Went to Waverly High School with them, grew up with them. One guy here, Jaden Sutton. He goes to Huntington University, sorry. And then my other friend here, Leek, going to Hope College, going to be senior this year, both of you. And today we're going to talk about being in the zone.
Great. That's a great introduction, and I definitely want to keep going back and forth. I want to thank you guys for making time to come out here, and I think you are great examples of that discussion. I know personally by being familiar with Jaden and also with DJ and just getting to know Luke, this topic of the zone is such a big thing. You know, you talk about the zone being where you can really, technically, the technical term is being at an optimal performance. And I like to explain it to people is like, you know, a day when you get up in the morning, you wake up late, you're late to school, you're late to work, you try to get to work or school, you get all the red lights, you may get a flat tire, you spill your coffee. That is not being in the zone, okay? That's not being in the zone. But what's the opposite of that? When you get up and everything is smooth, you feel like everything is coming together. The person you need to talk to, you can succeed. The person you need to connect with, you can connect with. Like everything seems to be in flow. Now, as a sports psychology consultant and with the work I'm doing with the SPSEdge, I'm definitely here to tell you that there are certain things you can do, and I talk about that in the 12 rules of flow, that can really help you being in the zone. But what I want to do is really get you guys experiences. Jaden, I remember when it happened, and also it was recapped recently, you having a 45-point game at Waverly High School. Delano being able to see you at Moneyball, being able to, Delano, go ahead and get you a good spot because you're going to make me seasick for moving around so much. You try to get the hoop in the back. I remember when DJ, you came to Moneyball and you just lit it. I'm gonna mess with you, man. That's
part of my internet to work.
Huh? You okay? You okay? I remember
I'm
you
trying to get my internet to work. It's been.
You okay? You okay? I remember you coming to Moneyball and just lighting it up for your first season. And then also, Luke, we'll talk about your experiences, what you had, but I also want to make sure we wrap up with talking about the importance of not just being in the zone, but recovering from injury. So with no further ado, Jaden, talk a little bit about the experience you had at Waverly High School and that big, Jordan game, the 4-5 game that you had.
Oh, man. It was probably one of the greatest performances I had in high school. But something before that definitely sparked it. I remember having, 3 games before that. It was a really bad slump, shooting really bad, just not playing well. I was really just in my own head, and I never really understood the term, in the zone. So I just had a real negative mindset over the last couple of weeks, when I was, just playing bad. So as talking to my dad, talking to some of my mentors, the biggest thing was a positive mindset. So I knew coming in to a big conference game, I needed to show up for sure. I sent out a tweet, I'm about to unleash some fire tonight. But that whole entire day, before the tweet, after the tweet, the whole day I was locked in. I was making sure I was locked in on the classroom so I can get onto the court and take care of business. And it was just a different vibe, me listening to some different music, me eating a solid breakfast, me just being locked in on every aspect leading up to the game. And, as soon as I hit the first shot, I knew it was over. I mean, I knew I was locked in from that time in. Coach Fields gave me the keys to the gym at that point. He was like, hey, I'm not even going to do nothing. You keep on going. So, like I said, at that point, I looked up, Coach Fields was like, you know how many you had? I was like, no, I wasn't even counting. I was just trying to win the game. I was that locked in. But
well, let's stop there for a second. I mean, you said some amazing things that I want to kind of capture, and I'll definitely let everybody go around and kind of chime in on your experience too. But I thought it was very interesting. You said you were in a slump, so you were not in the zone at one point. But talk about what got you to a point that you had confidence that you knew your game was going to be a breakout game. Because sometimes people stumble into the zone and they end up saying, I don't know how it happened. But talk about going from being in a low place to preparing yourself to get to a great place. Well, how was that transition for you?
It was definitely, like I said, it was different for me. I tried to evaluate what I was doing wrong before the game. Like, I know I was doing wrong in the game. That's something I can fix in the gym. But obviously, you have to prepare for the game before the game. So I was trying to figure out what I was doing wrong. And I just figured I was getting up. I was being lazy. I wasn't eating the right breakfast. I wasn't doing the right mental things to be able to get ready for the game. So honestly, I didn't see. I was just like, I'm just in a slump. It is what it is. But after changing those things, I was like, okay, this is really how you get in the zone. Because obviously, I hit 45 points and then hit 27 right after that. And I was doing the same exact things. And that whole process really just changed my mindset on how to get ready for the game, before the game, and just transition into being in the zone before. So
I like that. I want to note two things. I want to go to DJ to get your thoughts on that. And Luke, I'm going to come to you right after that. So one thing that stood out to me is about you say you had a great breakfast. And so it makes me think that whatever you did starting that day, you had a different routine that was better for you. And could you almost say leading up to that, you have been taking some of the things for granted? Because it sounds like you were just kind of like, I'm an athlete, I'm talented, I should be cool. So talk about those two things.
Oh yeah, 100%. I'm not the type to eat a healthy breakfast. I'm grab bowl of cereal. It is what it
breakfast.
is.
I'm just curious to know too. I'm sorry.
It was just some eggs, with a banana, just something simple, and it gave me a lot of energy, and I start feeling real good, throughout the day. But before that, I was eating a bowl of cereal, going out to eat, eating some McDonald's for lunch. I was just eating just ridiculous and this stuff, and I felt just bad throughout the time. But like you said, I was just taking it for granted. I'm like, I'm an athlete. It'll pass, whatever. I do whatever. But then, like I said, I start eating a better breakfast, start eating a better lunch, starting to get locked in. And like I said, that just springboarded me, into having better games, honestly.
Sure.
And like I said, I think, I took a lot of that for granted. And like I said, hopefully I can pass that information on to the people that's watching, to the people, that look up to me.
Last thing before I go to DJ, then Luke, you talked about your day during the school. Because I know from being in the schools with athletes or going to check on my guys, sometimes the athletes can be the terrors in the school, especially on game day. Come on, you're feeling some kind of way, you're going up, but you said your behavior, and not that you would be a bad student, I've always heard of you to be a role model, but talk about just your attitude during the school day as an athlete and how that helped.
Well, like I said, I think it was one of those things like showing up to class, right before the bell, just coming in, not really being locked in the class, like, all right, it's game day, I'm just trying to get to the game. But as soon as I really started getting locked in, I started getting to class 5 minutes early, getting all my stuff out, getting all my notes out, really being locked in. So when that teacher starts talking, I'm already locked in to what she's already talking about or what he's already talking about. So I think that's one of the biggest things for me. I was just going around school like, it's game day, man. I don't care about nothing else throughout the day. But in reality, I always talk about I'm bigger than the athlete. So I had to be locked in way more before getting on the court. So
that sounds like you had optimal performance all throughout the day. It wasn't just game day. So I think that's something to be noted for athletes, not just to focus on the game, but you need to have optimal performance or begin that process. Last thing I say, and I promise I got you, DJ, making your bed in the morning can be known as one of the greatest things you can do to start being positive, because it tells your brain, I'm being productive, you've accomplished a goal, and as simple as it may sound, I think those are the things that athletes can look at. So with no further ado, DJ, tell me what you think about that as we talk about Jaden's experience, and then we'll go to Luke too. And then before we wrap up and shift back to DJ, I want to know about the hate that came from that 45-point game too, and being able to balance what comes with being successful. That's cool. So DJ, what you got for Jaden?
No, he's definitely right. A lot of people they assume the game is only within that little time period when the time stops, and when the time starts and the time stops, that's only games. But they got to realize the game starts from the minute you wake up. If you're not mentally prepared for that game, even if that game's at 8 o'clock at night, you're sitting that whole morning. You got to be in the zone. You got to try to put yourself in that game so that you can have the best day. So like even when it comes to having breakfast, man, if he didn't have a good breakfast that day, he goes to class and say he does bad on a test or does bad on gets the question wrong. Now he's got, well, I did bad in school. Now I might go and do bad in my game. You know what I mean? So it definitely starts way before the game ever even tips off. It's from the minute you wake up on that game day. Your mind, you got to try to get your mind focused and ready, and that's with everything, from what you eat to what you read to what you listen to, everything.
Let me ask you guys a question, especially when we start talking about the athlete throughout the school day, because that's the time that, you know, coaches don't work in the schools like they used to anymore. You know, it's just not as much. So you don't really have anybody to hold you accountable. Why do you think it's so difficult for guys to stay locked in? Should there be more self-accountability with team captains and leaders, like to not get caught up in the hype? Because what Jaden talked about is that he was solid from top to bottom. But like I said, we get into these school days, it's like, man, it's party time. I'm getting ready to have a game. You know, why do you think that's the case?
It's just life. It's just life. I think a lot of people, some of them aren't as locked in as others. You know, like, you know, Jaden, myself, Lucas, we were locked in athletes and we were locked in on the academic side too. We made sure we got our grades straight and we made sure our bodies are right to hoop. And for Lucas's case and Jaden's case, for football. But a lot of people don't want to give up the life. They want to have fun and they want to, you know, party, and for some people drink and others, you know what I mean? So it's hard to give up the almost it's not, I wouldn't say not freedom, but almost give up that freedom of, let me go party, live my life. It's a responsibility and it's a big sacrifice to be an athlete and a good athlete at that moment.
Right. Lucas, I'm about to come to you. I want to say one thing, and Jaden, I'll get you to it. I know you had a point. In my book that's coming out on June 29th, my birthday, I just finished one part, and it was a great discussion I had with Coach Jim Harbaugh of Michigan. I don't know if you guys think Michigan and Michigan State like Bloods and Crips. So I don't want to start no fighting. But to your point, what you talked about the life, I remember asking him, you know, what's it like when you come to Michigan and you're the man? Now, of course, Jim Harbaugh played at Michigan. He had a very long career in the NFL. He made an excellent point. It's a quote. He said, in life, you can do anything, but you can't do everything. I'll repeat that. You can do anything, but you can't do everything. And what he was referring to, DJ, was to your point that as an athlete, you can do all this stuff, but you only got so many hours in the day. And you got to better break that down. So if on that 45-point day, if Jaden was like, man, I'm about to party and do all this stuff, it probably would have impacted that. So what do you have to say, Jaden, and then we'll go to Lucas finally.
I was just going to piggyback on DJ. I think it's just an identity issue, man. I think a lot of people put their identity in the sports and saying, I'm coming to school, especially if you're good in sports in high school. You like, I'm coming to school to hoop. I ain't coming to school to go to class, you know. So I think people have put a lot of their identity into being a basketball or being a football player when in reality, like, you're a student athlete, not an athlete student.
Mm-hmm.
You know? So I think, you know, the priorities just discombobulated.
And then when the playing stops, and Lucas can probably think about that more too, because he had an injury that shut him down. You know, there can be an identity crisis, I could imagine. You know, and maybe Lucas, you can touch upon that too. So with that, Lucas, finally, without any further ado, man, let's get you on the mic, man. Just give me your thoughts on Jaden's 45-point game, that experience, or anything you think, and we're going to work our way around from DJ then back to you as well. So what you got?
Yeah, two things stood out to what Jaden was saying. First one, they kind of touched on it. It's kind of like the mindset, and his mindset. He was just locked in. He said he talked to his mentor, his dad. He knew he was struggling. I feel like life's like a bunch of ups and downs, and he was at a down point at this point. But like he was able to understand it's not going to be like this forever. I got to change my mindset. I got to switch up my routine. And I got to get back going up. And that's what led to that 45-point game and that 27-point game. It's just he switched his mindset up. And then the second thing was just his routine. You know, most athletes stick to a certain routine every single day. And clearly his routine wasn't working. So he decided to tweak it. And what it did is it just made for a better performance, better day for him. So I think those are the two big things that stuck out to me.
That's amazing, man. You made an excellent point, Lucas. You know, I think one thing about Jay's experience, too, that there was some underlying confidence that even though you had been struggling, you were still confident to know I can get it back. Because I think a lot of times people can't get it back. And secondly, it's the people you got in your camp. Because what if you had people in your camp that was like, man, you trash. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Or, you know, because that's how we talk. But it's important you knew who to go to get that reinforcement from. So let's talk about DJ, the man of the hour. When we talk about these experiences, I remember, DJ, and you can talk about it too, man, when you came to Moneyball as a rookie or your first season. I remember you was like, hey, man, I want to get some shots up. You was having me giving you the passing drill, doing the player development. But I just remember you going out there having such an amazing performance. And it was almost like you didn't even know where you were. And I say that in a good way. It's like you didn't shrink to the moment. You almost came in and treated the moment like you kind of disrespected cats out there in the sense that you were coming in as a rookie. Right, Jaden?
Oh,
you
yeah.
kind of disrespected cats in the sense that you was like, I don't care if this is my first time playing at the Pro-Am. I'm going to get my game on. So as you hold back that smile, tell me what you think about that, man. And tell our viewers, tell us about the experience. 'Cause I was there, Jaden was there, we knew what it was like, but explain what that experience was.
Yeah. Moneyball first year was kind of surreal because I did not expect to have the type of season, you can call it, that I had. But like Jaden said earlier, and like Lucas said, it's about routine. And every day that summer, me and cats like Mo Benson and Muhammad Alameen, we were up at the Y at 5:30 every morning, putting up shots, working out, running. And I work out with them guys a lot, talk to them guys a lot. So when I got out on the court and was playing against kids, from state who were freshmen too, they were the same age as me. They might be D1, but we're the same age out there. And I had been playing with older cats all summer every morning. So I felt like, I knew more to them. I was a little better. I would say I'm better than them, but I felt like I was more prepared for that situation. So when I got out there, it was just playing ball. It was just another day out there. Shot was feeling good. And when you start going, your teammates start giving you the ball, and they don't care who you are. If you hit,
you got like 4 threes or something like that? How many threes you have to throw?
One of them I had 6 threes, and then
don't play me short. I had 6.
And then the next game I had 4, and then in one of those games I dropped 31 points within there somewhere.
I want to say something, man. I think this is noteworthy because we get so caught up with this term Division I. Division I only means you got a lot more people at your school. I mean, that's what Division I means, right? You just have more people that attend your school, but you kind of broke that down.
Yeah. See, I talk to a lot of people, from my school and from other Division III schools, and we talk about the difference between D3 and D1. And competition-wise, the players and the way the game is played is the only difference is the glitz and the glamour. We don't get, as Division III, you don't get the same attention, you don't get the same notice nationally as those Division I players get, but you're still going out there and competing to get a ring just like everybody else. And everybody wants to play. Everybody wants to win. So there's not really much of a difference when it comes between Division III. I know a lot of Division III hoopers that are better than some Division I hoopers, and they just didn't get the same opportunity. So I understand that the divisions is just, like you said, it's the size of the school.
It had nothing to do with the size of heart. Jaden, what do you think about your guy recapping that experience he had? I saw you nodding your head a lot on that. Tell me what you're thinking.
I mean, I wasn't surprised. Like I said, as getting to know DJ and getting to know his journey, as soon as he graduated, I knew it was going to be a different mindset for him. He always explained that he was getting up, working out 5:30. And, I know Mo and I know Muhammad through my uncle.
Shout out to Mo and shout out to Muhammad, yep.
Yeah, so through my Uncle Ryan. So I know them dudes are legit. So I know once DJ started working out with them, it was curtains. And it even started before Moneyball when DJ came back to Waverly and torched us for a 30 ball. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it started. I seen it started before Moneyball. So, but like I said, I knew he was always locked in, and I knew he was gonna take it to a whole nother level as soon as he graduated.
Appreciate you, man.
Lucas, before I come to you, you made an excellent point. You kind of recapped something, Jaden, that's been the theme here. It's like your circle. You talked about you got with your mentors, you got with your crew. You kind of hunker down with your people, and then for DJ, you talked about Muhammad Alameen. Shout out to Muhammad. Shout out to Game Solid Training with Mo Benson. You got with your crew. So I guess there's something to be said about who you end up spending your time with that can really help you. Does that make sense to highlight that?
For sure.
I get that. Lucas, my guy, coming back around. You heard what we've been talking about with DJ. You've been exposed to him. Just what's your take on what he's been sharing right now?
Well, DJ, I mean, it started at a young age with him. Me and him always used to hoop in his front yard. growing up, we played freshman JV ball together. And then when he transferred out to Loyola Norks, it was like, dang, he's leaving, but he's going for a better opportunity. And even though the team may not have been good, he still stood out there. He did his thing. And I always felt like he was underlooked as a prospect. Like he said, he only went Division III, but I knew he was better than that. So going to play Moneyball, I wasn't surprised to hear how he played or to see how he played. Just growing up, I knew he had that work ethic and that motivation to get where he would get to. So I'm not even surprised.
Well, Lucas, as we get ready to get on you and you share a story, I want to go back to what what you said about DJ, and also what Jaden had talked about too. Again, I'm kind of just trying to find a common theme here, and I'm hoping that our listeners who are watching live, shout out to Coach Orlando Watkins for putting this together and helping us, or those who are watching on video, because this will be a YouTube video later on tonight. The common theme I'm getting is you get with your crew. You start your routine early in the day. Your success doesn't come at the time of the game. It starts early in the morning with your routine, what you eat, who you're with. But also, let's talk about the confidence element, because Jaden talked about he was confident he could do it, but on a larger scale, DJ pulled up stakes. I remember me and your dad talking like, yeah, man, for whatever it's worth, DJ about to go to Kalamazoo. So you almost had what I call like a prep school experience, but there had to be a level of confidence that not only you had, that your dad had, shout out to your dad, Kevin Swift, had. So what about that underlying confidence that has to be there for you guys going forward? And Luke, we're gonna get to you. I'm talking to you with that, DJ.
I had when I transferred, it was a pretty tough decision because, like you said, with having your crew behind you, these guys right here were my guys. Every day we were hanging out together, kicking it together at some point, some way. So leaving there, I knew I was leaving a lot of friends and a lot of connections behind. But when, my dad, I trust my dad, I trust my mom, and I have family down in Kalamazoo. And they already raised me pretty well to where I knew I wasn't going to have to be super dependent on anybody. And they really put the confidence, it was really my dad put the confidence in me to say, if this doesn't work out, you can always come back. Like, you always have a spot here. So I knew going down there and leaving this behind that it wasn't ever going to go away, and I was always going to have that support. My mom and my dad have been my rock since I could walk before then. So I had confidence in them because they had confidence in me, and because they had confidence in me, it put a lot more confidence in myself to go to that school and be able to, I'm going to go here, finish these last 2 years out, put in some work, and make sure my name is out there just a little bit so I can go and do what I want to do, which is play college ball.
Excellent. So this is what I want to do. We're going to get to Lucas. And Luke, I want to get your take on your experience of being in the zone, but also I want you kind of to go into your experience about your injury. And just as we talk about being in the zone, being at the highest level of performance, as we work our way back around you guys for the final part of this, I want to talk about the importance of being able to stay focused and come out of the injury so you can get into the zone again. Because everybody got a plan until you get hit in the mouth or until something happens.
Mm-hmm.
So with that, we'll go to you, Lucas, and then we'll work our way back around to Jaden and then to DJ. And DJ, you can help us wrap up when we do it. So Lucas, talk about, your experience of being in the zone and what that was like, and give me your feedback based on what we've been talking about.
Yeah, I'll start with my injury. It's kind of like the background was my junior year, going to be my first year starting at tight end, and played in 2 games.
Oh, tight end, okay.
Yep. Started the first 2 games, was feeling pretty good. Started off 1-1, and then we went into a 3rd game, and coming across the middle for a pass, hitting the knee.
Was it a clean play? Was it a dirty play?
He went low. I mean, I understand the hit, but he went low. He went right for the knee, so it is 50-50, but it was no avoiding it for me because I was looking at the ball while he came low. So, but I ended up tearing a partial ACL, LCL, ALL, PLC, and fractured my tibia. So, yep, doctor told me 8 to 12 months recovery. Yes, I wouldn't say 50-50, but there was a good chance I'd be able to play my next year, but it just really depended how rehab went and how the surgery went. So kind of took me out of my zone in a way because my routine every day was wake up, go to class, might have a lift in the morning, go to practice, but it switched to where I'm in bed all the time. couldn't really. It's hard to get to class. Had a wheelchair. Had to get on. Was in my room almost all the time. Social life was a little different. So it was pretty tough coming out of that. But mom, dad, friends, all kept my spirits up. So yeah, and then once I got out of that, I was able to start walking 2-3 months later. I actually came home for an internship, so I wasn't at school. So I was yet again kind of in a different area, had to get in a different type of zone. And that started with 40 to 50 hour work days for my internship, and then PT 2 times a week. And I just grinded, focused on that. And now I can say that left leg's doing pretty well now. And just been rehabbing, going strong, and it looks like I should be good for next year.
Let me ask you one thing, and that was somewhat of a controversial question that I asked, and you were really politically correct when you respond when I say, was it a clean play or was it a dirty play? How do you not harbor resentment towards another athlete, whether it was clean or dirty? You want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, it's something like in the heat of a play, like, people always talk about, oh, it's dirty. It, like, looking at it microseconds, like instant replay and stuff like that. But it's different when you're out there going 100% full speed. And it's just like, in my mindset, I know he wasn't trying to hurt my knee. He was just trying to make that tackle, make me not get that catch. And it's just like, some people don't see it that way. But I understand it's just the nature of football, and that's the risk involved.
Would you say there's a benefit to your rehab, and it helps your rehab to have that positive attitude about it? Because it seems like something you can get really stuck on that.
Oh, yeah. I feel like something that really helped me get through that, too, is like, for me being able to go back and say I want to play football next year, is something like, I know how the injury happened. I know how I can keep it safe now, and I can just keep getting it stronger, so I will be good next year.
Last thing I want to get on that, and we can get Jaden's take on it as well as DJ's. I was in a horrible car accident several years ago, and I'm very fortunate I walked away. My daughter was in the car right before, 90 seconds before it happened. When I got to the hospital, showed pictures. They said, who died? But one of my frat brothers made a good point to me. He said, dude, just be careful when you get back in, because you may feel uncomfortable about driving again. And I'm thankful he mentioned that, because that first time I got in the car, I could see how it felt. It could be like being in a cave. So my question to you is really simple. Are you going to go back across the middle again?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I feel like this point, I'll be more aware. I understand that happened before, but I also know I'm going to have a brace on that knee. My knee's going to even be stronger than before, and I'm going to be confident going across the middle.
Wow, that's important. Jaden, what's your take on what Lucas just shared?
I think, what people need to understand is this wasn't like an ankle sprain. This is a major knee injury, that could have been done. He could have called it quits, and it could have hurt him mentally. But, a big thing for Lucas is he's using football. Football isn't using him. So he's able to, bounce back from that and be in a positive mindset, because he knows that, even if I don't play football, I still have a really good job lined up, which even springboarded him even more to even playing football. And I think the crazy thing is this man, even though he might not have been in the zone, on the field, off the field, this man has worked harder than anybody I've ever seen. And what's the crazy thing is, once again, this man looks even powerful than he did before. So like I said, we hoop all the time, and this man is doing things he couldn't do before. Once again, he's able to, bounce back from something like this, get in the zone, and be able to work as hard as he's ever worked in his life to get back on the field. And, like I said, like you asked him the question about going down the middle, that's a competitive nature, man. That's something you can't think about. You just gotta be aware. He's more aware now. He's more safe. But at the end of the day, I'm still going to go out there and compete. I'm still going out there being confident. I'm still going out there, and be me regardless of anything. So I think that was, one of the greatest things that I've ever seen, really.
Wow, that's awesome, man. I can appreciate you sharing that, and you giving that take on your relationship with Lucas. That's really inspiring. DJ, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, just to piggyback on Jaden, since high school, these two cats have probably been one of the two hardest dudes I know. And with seeing Lucas go down like that, and then for him to just not give up, I know a lot of people would have just gave up. He pushed through it. And like Jaden said, he's worked even harder. And like he wasn't in the zone in the game, he found his zone outside of it to get his knee back right. And to really go off of that, it goes with what you said earlier in the recording is, being in the zone, you can take that outside of sports. It doesn't have to be just you on the court or on the field or you in that moment. That could be if you work behind a desk and you got some files to do, you can be in the zone and get those files done quick and press your boss, and get that promotion or whatever it means. So being in the zone is a lot more than just athletes. It goes to being a non-athlete too. It's just everyday life. If you're not focused on what you want to accomplish that day, you end up just wandering around doing anything, just trying to find something to get into.
Wow, that's really good, man. I'm really impressed with all these statements you're making, and that's an excellent transition because we all love basketball, we love football, but even we make it to the highest level, we only can play it for so long. Period. And you have to transition. So I think the idea of being in the zone is something for our viewers to look at as, how do I learn about being in the zone in sports for a small window so I can do that for a lifetime? Before we get out of here, man, I'd much rather just cap this off because you guys have really been good with everything you shared, and I want it to be something where people in this microwave world can look at this segment and say, okay, I'll watch this for 30-plus minutes and get something out of it. I want to go back and get you guys to just talk about your colleges that you're at right now, because what I also get is you talked about your support group at home, but these places that you guys have landed seem to be places that are allowing you to flourish. DJ, I've been in contact with your institution and what's going on. Jaden, the fact that you're heading back, and I hear things about hope. You guys just want to touch on your school, where you are, and what are some things about that place that help you stay on point and thrive, and be in the zone. I just want to put that out there. DJ, you want to start?
Yeah, for me, it's the friends I've created there and the people I created there. When I first got there, I had a lot of seniors in front of me, and a lot of them gave me good tips on how to survive in a small town, and how to not basically go insane. And when you're stuck in that town with not a lot of people, but it's important to surround yourself with good people. And my coaching staff, they've been really good at making everybody feel comfortable on the team. And if there's any problems, you can always go talk to them and make them feel comfortable. But I'm close to 500 miles away from home. And like I said earlier, these are my boys, so I'm 500 miles away from them, So it's one of the most important things is finding that group of people that can make you feel better, but not only feel better, make you do better as a person. Because if you find a bunch of knuckleheads, then you're just gonna end up being a knucklehead yourself. You don't want to be a knucklehead.
And I know Kevin Swift will have to ride down on you on that. Lucas, give me your take on that, and of course we'll finish with Jake.
Yeah. So something about all of us, we all went to go play sports, and we're all at small schools. And what's big, especially for me being football team, 100+ people, it's a brotherhood there, and those are people you can rely on. You spend 16 or 8 out of the 24 hours of the day with them. So those are people you have to lean on and trust on. And they're people after sports is over, you're going to be able to rely on them for everything, from the coaching staff to the people I played with as freshmen that are seniors, just people you can trust and believe in. And then also, more specifically, my roommates who I play football, that are also football players, just our bond, because we live together with each other 24/7. It's just making lifelong friends there. And then, of course, the teachers and the athletic training staff for me, they've made my life much easier, especially with rehabbing from the injury.
Wonderful, wonderful. Jaden, what you got about Huntington?
I think one of the most beautiful things about Huntington is, there has been a common line here, and there's been community. So my friends down there have been definitely very good to me. My teammates have, but I think one of the most beautiful things is I can actually, have a relationship with my teacher, and they actually, trust me enough, and, they actually believe in me. So like I said, that's getting locked in before the game so you can actually have a good day to get into the game. So I think, having teachers that love and trust you and believe in you, and we also have really good mental health services that are there that can get your mind right too, because I know being away from home can take a huge hit, on your mental health, on your schooling, on your basketball, or football, whatever sport you're playing. And like I said, I think they have some of the most beautiful mental health services you can have there. And like I said, and we always say, the game is 95% mental, 5% physical. So to be able to, you know, have people around me like that has been a blessing.
Wow, we got Jaden Sutton representing Huntington College. We got Leek representing Hope College, and the SPS intern, and my guy, Mr. DJ Delano Swift, representing Monmouth College. I think you all are excellent ambassadors for your institutions, but also a great role model for the other young people coming along. Everybody can't go D1. Everybody can't handle being D1, and everyone's not going to get a D1 opportunity. But you guys have found that space, and as they say in the love world, love those that love you. You guys are seeing them be in relationships with institutions that are supporting you. I think that's something people need to listen to. So with that, I'll give you guys one more go around. We'll finish with Delano. You guys got any last words you want to sign off with, starting with Jaden, Lucas, and then we'll finish with DJ before we wrap up.
You know, just to really touch on the division thing, man, like I said, you know, whether that's Division 1, 2, 3, NAIA, regardless of the fact, the competitive nature never lacks. Like, once again, I play at NAIA, and that's one of the best basketball I've seen, regardless. You know, like I said, some people don't go D1 because of the exposure they don't get. They don't, like I said, a bunch of factors play into that. So go where you need it, not where you want to go. You know, go where that's the best fit for you. Go where it feels like home. Go where they actually want you to be there, and you're not just a number. You know, that I think that was one of the greatest things that I have, that I actually have people that I never thought I'd have a relationship with. I have a relationship with, like my teachers, the president of my college. Like, there's a bunch of people that I have relationships with, and I think that's the most beautiful thing. Just because, like I said, that makes me feel almost special in a sense, because you actually know my name. Like, you actually know who I am. That, and I think I'm gonna end off on, remember that you know, you're a student athlete. Take care of business early. You don't want to be playing catch up. And always just be on top of your stuff, because at the end of the day, you know, whether you go play college, that's 4 years. Now you got, you know, 50 plus years in your work. So, you know, that's the biggest thing for me, is just always make sure you're on top of your stuff mentally, physically, spiritually, and as a student.
Outstanding. Lucas, what you got, man?
I guess my last point is just going to be, let's talk about the subject in the zone. You're going to have your ups and downs, especially as student athletes. You're going to have your slumps. You're going to have the bad days. But I just feel like something you have to have is a positive mindset, and just always know it's going to get better. There are people doing worse than you. You have a roof over your head, stuff like that. So just stay confident and just keep going. And I just want to say thank you for having me on the show also.
No, man, you good. I appreciate you being. You guys really put something together. Mr. Delano, DJ Swift, as you close us out.
Yeah, man. I would like to thank both of y'all for joining on the show, and to really piggyback on what Lucas said. Or actually, what Jaden said is, you know, going to a small school like that, it does help that the people around you do know who you are, and the people there actually care and support you and care about you and what you do. So he's absolutely right. Where you go where you need it, not where you desire all the time, because, you know, all that glitters isn't gold. That's the old saying. And then to go off Lucas's injury story, you know, don't ever let anything set you back. If anything gets you in your way, it's just another obstacle to get over. And once you get over that, you got a green path ahead of you. Just keep pushing forward. There's always good things ahead.
Wow, outstanding. I think this is going to be a very fruitful conversation, not just for young athletes, but just adults, as we all try to come out of this COVID. We're dealing with the civil unrest post-George Floyd, and really trying to get our minds right to do that. I'm really impressed with all you young men. I really appreciate you making the time. Definitely want to be a resource to you guys going forward. And also remember that we'll be back on next week at 6 p.m. to anyone who's listening. We'll be back doing it again. We got my young Malachi just joining. Malachi, what's up, man? We were just getting ready to wrap up, but this is going to be available for you to check out and watch. And we also want to make sure we get you back on next week too. Malachi, this is a very impressive young man, guys, going to his freshman year. He's been contributing a great deal, and I'm sure he's going to get a lot from this conversation. So with that, we're going to wrap up. And Lindsay Huddleston with the SPS Mental Toughness Zoom class, brought to you by Mr. Jaden Sutton, Lucas Leek, as well as Delano Swift. And we'll see you guys back here next week.
Okay.
All right.